I want to go to a couple of things, and it's going to be surprising to you where I'm going to go with some of these subjects. So I want you to stay with me. Number one, in case y'all were wondering, have you been watching the playoffs? Been watching the NFL playoffs? Did you know that for these playoffs, to start out these playoffs, it started out with 6 of the quarterbacks in the NFL playoffs being black quarterbacks? Did you know? Did you know? Check out this full screen. I made it for y'all. Look at these quarterbacks right here. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, and C.J. Stroud. Obviously, that list has been diminished to 4 now that Hurts and Prescott got themselves unceremoniously bounced out of there in a wild card series playoff game to Green Bay and Tampa Bay, respectively. But it doesn't take away from the fact that you had 6 quarterbacks who happen to be black that started out in these NFL playoffs, which obviously is a historical high. But it takes us to a different subject as well. Because on opening day of this season, did you know that 14 black quarterbacks started? They were week 1 starters. 14. You see that number right there? It's accurate. It ain't lying to you. Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Geno Smith, Desmond Ridder, Joshua Dobbs, Justin Fields, Jordan Love, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and Anthony Richardson. The season before that, 11 black quarterbacks started week 1. Compare that to the year 2002. The number was at 7. So there's some improvement there. And in this same year, the NFL draft, 3 of the first 4 picks were black quarterbacks. First time that happened in history. And Young at 1, Bryce Young at 1, C.J. Stroud at 2, Anthony Richardson at number 4. Why do I bring this up? Because you know what it has me thinking about? Colin Kaepernick. That too. It's got me thinking about Colin Kaepernick. Do you remember Colin Kaepernick? Because the NFL is clearly making a concerted effort to make sure you forget him. Didn't I tell you this was going to happen? Now, most conscientious observers don't forget Colin Kaepernick. He took a knee during the national anthem to bring attention to police brutality and the treatment of black and brown people in this country. He used the NFL platform when the national anthem was being sang to make his point. And as a result, he was blackballed from the National Football League. He was blackballed by NFL owners, not Commissioner Goodell, not the league office, the 32 owners. He was blackballed by them. Make no mistake about it. He was blackballed by them. And not only was he blackballed by them, I received the wrath of a viewing public out there because I brought attention to the fact that he sort of assisted in blackballing himself. And I'm using this to provide proof to the evidence that I was spewing at the time. What did I say? He was blackballed. What did I say? It was grotesquely unfair. What did I say? The narrative was hijacked by politicians, specifically President Donald Trump at the time, who turned it into his own cause to manipulate constituencies, his constituency. And I believe, in a roundabout way, went about dividing this nation along racial lines, to be specific. But I also didn't let Colin Kaepernick off the hook. Because when Jay-Z ingratiated himself into those boardrooms with the NFL league office and league owners, and he insisted on Colin Kaepernick being given a tryout, and the NFL capitulated and arranged for an organized tryout amongst all NFL teams, where personnel from 26 teams showed up to see Colin Kaepernick work out. And instead, at the last minute, he decides not to show up and work out at a high school an hour and 20 minutes away where most of them wouldn't be able to attend because of the late notice, and talking about how the NFL wasn't going to dictate anything. And it was all because of a waiver he didn't want to sign or whatever. What did I say to y'all? I said, yo, it's over. His NFL career is over. Did I lie to you? See, a lot of times I'm bringing stuff like this up to serve as a reminder. It ain't selling out, it's looking out when you're telling the truth about minefields that lie in wait so you can find your way to maneuver around them to get to where you want to go. Selling out is not telling you and letting you go right into that minefield. It's not alerting you to it and giving you a heads up about it so you can do something to navigate your way around it. But you didn't believe me. You didn't believe me. What did I tell you that Jay-Z and others said in that room with Roger Goodell and some of those owners in attendance when they were talking about, we don't need Colin Kaepernick. We got Patrick Mahomes. We got Russell Wilson. We got a Dak Prescott. We got various others. These brothers getting paid. He said, yes, you do need Dak Prescott. I'm sorry. Yes, you do need Colin Kaepernick. My apologies. You absolutely do. That's what he said, which is why the league ultimately organized the workout. And he didn't show up for it, using the waiver as an excuse. Now we fast forward to the year 2023 season, in the year 2024 to be specific now. And what do we have here? We have 4 quarterbacks still playing in the National Football League playoffs who happen to be black. That would be Lamar Jackson and C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love and Patrick Mahomes. We had 14 quarterbacks starting off the season, like I reiterated to you earlier. And I'm looking at this list here. Black quarterbacks who have won league MVP. Steve McNair in 2003, Cam Newton in 2015, Patrick Mahomes twice in 2018 and 2022, Lamar Jackson in 2019. That's 4 quarterbacks that have won the league MVP 5 times because Patrick Mahomes did it twice. It's about to be 6 because Lamar Jackson's going to win it this year. I'm looking at black quarterbacks who've played in the Super Bowl. It's Doug Williams. It's Steve McNair. It's Donovan McNabb. It's Colin Kaepernick. It's Cam Newton. It's Russell Wilson. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Jalen Hurts. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Make it 9. Lamar Jackson, I believe, is going. Or Patrick Mahomes. I don't believe both are going to miss out on the Super Bowl. As great as Josh Allen is in Buffalo, I don't believe both of them going to get knocked off. So there we are. And we're looking at it, and what does this have to do with anything? It's a point. It's a point of reference. It's the political season after all. The Iowa caucuses just took place Monday night. New Hampshire's about to take place in a couple of weeks. South Carolina's coming down the pike. Oh, by the way, that dude Trump is ahead by a mile. Over Ron DeSantis, over Nikki Haley. Vivek Ramaswamy dropped out and pushed his support to Trump. No doubt hoping to get a VP nod, which I don't believe will happen. Things get politicized all the time. It gets politicized all the time. But right now, those politics are working in the favor of the National Football League, specifically the 32 owners, because you got a bevy of black quarterbacks wreaking havoc, just balling. And oh, by the way, getting paid when they do so. Patrick Mahomes is going to make over $200 million. Lamar Jackson just signed for $260. Deshaun Watson got $230. Russell Wilson ain't even won it in Denver anymore and guaranteed about $80 million. On top of the additional dollars he got. Dak Prescott, oh, by the way, just wet the bed in the postseason performance again. He's going to get paid because he was an MVP candidate. Jerry Jones ain't letting him go. Dak Prescott going to get paid. Oh, Jalen Hurts already got paid. Already got paid. Geno Smith got his bag. It ain't as much as the rest of the dudes. He's got over $100 million. What you think C.J. Stroud going to get paid when it's his time? What you think Jordan Love's going to get paid when it's his time? What you think going to happen? And what are the owners going to say? We're taking care of the black quarterback. Didn't I tell you it was going to happen? You listening now? I tried to tell you. You can make all the arguments all you want to. Colin Kaepernick did. Remember his Netflix miniseries? Academy Award nominated filmmaker Ava DuVernay. She was the one that did the film, produced it, directed it, called Colin in Black and White. In that miniseries, he provocatively likens the NFL draft to slavery. Why am I bringing all of this up? Because it's important to note. And the reason why it's important to note, because in the scene from the miniseries I'm reading from here, Kaepernick is dressed in black with an afro framing his face as he condemns the NFL draft. We see a depiction of a slave auction juxtaposed with images of white coaches examining black bodies. Quote, what they don't want you to understand is what's being established is a power dynamic, Kaepernick said at the time. Before they put you on the field, teams poke, prod, and examine you, searching for any defect that might affect your performance. No boundary respected, no dignity left intact. Many people feel the same way Colin Kaepernick has felt. I'm not here to say he's wrong in terms of his depiction describing the NFL draft. Because I've often been on the record saying, damn it, if I ball out in college football and I'm a top player, okay, and I'm elite, why the hell do I have to go through all of this? I might be inclined to tell him to kick rocks. I ain't trying to do all of that. Here's the problem with his argument. We can liken it to slavery. If you could show me white slaves. But I see white NFL players having to go through the same thing that Colin Kaepernick described. If the requirement is to learn how fast you can run, how high you can jump, what level of punishment you can sustain, what level of durability do you have? What are your attributes? You got strong feet, you got strong knees, you got strong thighs, you got a strong arm, you got strong shoulders, you got a strong midsection. Do you hit harder or softer? All of these different things that come into play where they analyze and dissect you in a manner that Colin Kaepernick described just to highlight what you bring to the table. I have no problem with what Colin Kaepernick said if it were only happening to black players. But white players in the National Football League go through this too. You know how we know it? We see it on film. They air the damn draft. They air the draft. So when Colin Kaepernick was saying stuff like that, and then ultimately refusing to show up to workouts, and then ultimately proclaiming that this is the reason and all of this other is right as he was about being blackballed, he took it a step further by making this kind of noise but didn't show up to work out. And as a result, we look at the league now. There's black quarterbacks all over the place. 14 starters out of 32 teams. The owners are sitting back and looking at it and saying, how the hell can you talk about racism? And guess what? They have a point. Because no matter what you think, no matter what you feel, no matter what truth emanates through your brain and your head, the fact is they have plausible deniability because 14 starters were black. Most of them are getting paid. They're bringing that up. Meanwhile, the audience won't go anywhere. You go to church, you cut church short so you can get to a game on time. You ain't going to a game, you're getting home on time to watch it. Hell, you might not go to the game or be at home, but you're going to show up at a tailgate party. And you're going to cut church service. Do it. And it ain't only to watch it on network television or even local television. Now they putting stuff on Peacocks and other apps and YouTube. And guess what? The audience is larger. Last week, Miami and Kansas City had a playoff game on the Peacock app. Not NBC, the Peacock app. And 30 million plus watched. 30 million plus. They're getting paid. And whatever argument you want to make on behalf of Colin Kaepernick, to use this example, God bless him, is whistling into the wind. Because just like I told you, they'd move on. And you know how they would be able to move on? They were going to make sure black quarterbacks got paid, that he wasn't one of them, and that you'd continue to watch. And that's exactly what happened. Just like I told you. Your brother was looking out for you. That's all I was doing. I was looking out.